Hello everyone, welcome to Any Pluto. Let's start the video. The story starts with an entryway that is being opened. There are two ladies that on search and fear remaining before the door. We meet Zone. The entryway opens and a legendary monster known as the Kirin ventures out. The Kirin asks Zon for what good reason he opened the door. He answers he is there to take its influence to recuperate his debilitated mother. Zon's arms burst into blazes and he goes after. He handles a staggering hit to the monster's head, yet without much of any result. He is immediately wrecked by the monster's speed and is sent flying. He holds his arm as it seems broken, yet Zon grins and enacts his Phoenix burst capacity. His arm is re-established as he goes after again. He tosses an enormous stone point of support at the monster, yet the Kirin breaks it effortlessly, pushing Zon back again. Unexpectedly, there is an emission of ice starting from the earliest stage. Both Zon and the Kirin are frozen. We meet Shin, the hub of ice, followed by the other essential hub. Individuals earth, water, and metal. As of now, a child Kirin rises out of the entryway and runs off. The Kirin breaks liberated from the ice while evading an assault from the metal hub. It changes into a more draconic structure and goes after Zon. Zon scarcely figures out how to safeguard himself, and after their conflict is left vigorously harmed. The monster captures the two ladies. Shin endeavors to end the Kirin, yet his assaults are obstructed with one hand and he is thumped back. The Kirin states that the evil presence domain is currently in disorder and that they should track down his child to save the two ladies. Now we slice to a town in the mountains. We meet a little kid named and getting back after gathering spices from the mountains. She welcomes an old woman as she stops for some water. We're acquainted with the 6th and 7th elderly folks of the town. They discuss how they've been feeling better on account of the town's unique mixture. They welcome, and as she runs by and shows up at the drugstore and hands the spices over to the 5th senior. After that, she races to track down her dad, yet winds up running directly into him, making him crush his pot of medication. Her dad is the 3rd senior and head of the town. He tidies up the messed up pieces and tells and she should be more cautious. He gives her a few cash and advises her to purchase a substitution pot from the old expert up in the mountains. He cautions her to remain on the way as it's not difficult to lose all sense of direction in the mountains, and sets off immediately. As she strolls along the way, she meets 3 obscure looking covered men. As they approach her, she gets apprehensive and attempts to conceal her cash. They say they are voyagers searching for the town and simply maintain that a spot should rest from their excursion. She apprehensively gives them bearings to the town and they leave and is terrified by this experience and rapidly runs off. She outings and winds up moving down the slope. She grinds to a halt and understands that she is presently lost. As she gets up, she ends up before a huge advance notice that peruses Soul stowed away Hayes slope and looks on as the words gleam. A wing brushes against her leg, making her shout. She in a flash snatches the animal and discards it. Really at that time does she understand that it was only a duck, and she pursues it. She comes to a lake and finds a stripped Zone and gets bothered at the sight and winds up slipping. John sees her falling and rapidly bounces up. He goes right by her as he saves the duck and can't accept this and falls into the water. John and in get comfortable. He asks her for what good reason she is out in the center of no place. She lets him know she is searching for the old expert to get a substitution pot. John knows the man and offers to direct her as both of them advance and asks Zon for what reason there was an advance notice about entering the Soul stowed away mist slope. Zon makes sense of an old legend. Sometime in the past there were devils that resided in the mist slopes. These devils desolated the people, hunting and eating them, yet on one occasion the 5 basic hubs showed up and together they pushed the devils back and fixed them to one more aspect. There were some that figured out how to move away, so the mist slopes are as yet hazardous. The pair show up at the old expert's home and is stunned by the mind-boggling odor of wine. She respects every one of the pots and manifestations. In plain view, the old expert rises up out of under a pile of wine and lets him know she is here to get another pot and gives him the cash. He tells Zon to get the request. Zon brings it over and the two leave. The sun is going down, so Zon chooses to accompany, and back at the town the elderly folks are cautioned as they hear the town chime ringing at the doors of the town. The 3 veiled men from before are going after 2 of the watchmen are now dead, with one injured asking for help as one of the concealed men runs up. The 6th senior seems employing his double edge as he trades blows with the man, yet he is immediately overwhelmed, moving, kicked away, and cut with his own cutting edge. The 5th senior leaps down and joins the battle. He accuses him of his lance and holds his ground, showing he is more talented than the 6th senior. He is even ready to land a strike on the man, yet With this, the subsequent man joins the battle. The two send off an assault together, tossing their edges while charging at the fifth senior. While he can hinder the two sharp edges, he gets cut by their unusual arms. The seventh senior attempts to assist by terminating explosives at the two men. The fifth senior is blown away as he hacks blood. He keeps on terminating more explosives, yet one of the men diverts an unstable right back at him, making him experience a weighty physical issue. One of the men races to polish off the fifth senior, yet not long before he can strike, Zahn shows up and keeps him down in a moment. Zahn is on top of one of the men and has the other gotten with his hand. A bird's face is uncovered as his veil tumbles off. Zahn initiates his fire and burns the monster. The elderly folks and are stunned to see Zahn, who they perceive as the fire hub from the legends. Somewhere else, we meet a young man named Dan as he pursues away a lot of different children that are taking his food. The children move away as Dan curses at them. Abruptly, he sees his sibling, who has quite recently gotten back from a long excursion. Dan is thrilled and embraces his sibling. The two offer a second as his sibling provides him with an endowment of his number one red organic product, yet this second doesn't keep going long as they notice the unsettling influence coming from the town entryway. They hustle over to see what's going on. At the door, the central orders everybody to withdraw and refocus. They help the injured back inside and leave. The lay is on the covered man goes through a change with feathers arising, uncovering his actual structure to be a peacock. The two start to battle and at first have all the earmarks of being decently equally paired in both speed and power, yet the peacock plunges at Zahn and utilizes a breath assault, making him be blown away. The peacock then circles back to a whirlwind of blows, which Zahn is scarcely ready to keep away from. Zahn stops his assault. He enacts his flares and impacts the peacock, sending it flying. He then utilizes his blazes to support his speed and conveys a savage pass. The peacock gets impacted over and winds up taking off. The elderly folks refocus with different residents who are in shock seeing their wounds. Dan's sibling attempts to assist with treating the fifth senior's injuries. The main attempts to quiet the residents down. He lets them know that they were gone after by evil spirits and have to plan weapons, yet before they can set up, the peacock unexpectedly arrives behind him. The boss is deadened in dread. The peacock recognizes climb on the boss and asks him for the area of the central frenzies and doesn't have a clue. Fortunately, Jean shows up without a moment to spare, kicking the peacock away. He sticks the peacock with his foot, yet it charges its breath assault at certain locals. Jean blocks this, yet leaves himself open from behind. The peacock plunges in and cuts the two zones arm and leg. With this injury, the peacock asks Zahn, assuming he knows about what the people have done. He spreads his plumes and starts to shine as he says he will show Zahn their real essence. As they gaze at the peacock's quills, a portion of the townspeople shout as they become purple. Even the sixth senior is impacted and starts to change. The peacock then retains the individuals who change, transforming them into dust. After the peacock assimilates their substance, he goes through his own change. He acquires another humanoid appearance and pauses for a minute to consider his new structure. He guesses the thoughts of the old woman and finds the area of what he is searching for. He takes off, leaving Zahn on the ground, who is mending his injuries. Zahn's hair goes to blazes and his power floods as he puts on a cover. He rapidly pursues the devil, the sixth senior remaining parts, and goes crazy, completely transformed into a devil. He kills different individuals from the town and even goes after his own child. Dan's sibling plunges and saves the youngster, yet they are cornered as the sixth senior cuts them with his hooks. Dan is sickened at the sight. He races to save his sibling. He bounces forward and hits with a stick, yet winds up getting speared. Rather, the sixth senior acknowledges what he has done and requests that Dan's sibling kill him before he can cause any more damage. Jean finds the evil spirit and their fight proceeds with he starts to battling against the devil's new structure. The devil connects his quality to Zahn, pulling him back, and after each hit, Zahn takes hold of the devil, yet this main prompts him getting shot up the mountain by a strong assault. When the residue clears, Zahn is uncovered somewhat safe and seems to have rose to a much more impressive structure with his body totally sparkling with flares. Jean's speed and strength are hugely improved as he pursues the devil. He utilizes his fire whips to get the evil spirit and kick him into a mountain. The devil fights back, utilizing his plumes to go after. He assembles every one of his plumes to make a gigantic drill-like assault. Jean endeavors to stop it, yet it pushes him back as the tip of the assault starts to slit into his jugular. He arrives at profound an option for him and tears the assault in half. He then, at that point, flies toward the evil presence, striking him in the chest and making his heart combust. He goes after with a distraught blast of strikes prior to crushing the devil into the ground as the residue settles the evil presence, is returned to his peacock structure. Zahn gets an opportunity to converse with the evil presence and asks how he transformed the people into beasts. The devil advises him to enter the passage behind him to find reality. As of now, the boss shows up in a frenzy. He says nobody is permitted to enter except for as he runs he slips on a branch, making him drop a vial, pouring out his remedy. One of the peacock's plumes disengage and snatches one of the pills. It then transforms into a bird and takes off. Zahn gets the peculiar pill and sniffs it rapidly, understanding its source, and hurries into the passage. Zahn finds the Kirin's son in an enclosure tied up. He was being utilized as the wellspring of the solution. Zahn is irritated at the sight and protects the Kirin as he diverts the Kirin. The peacock promises that the evil presence world will be coming to take the Kirin and that the people will offer reparations for their transgressions, and is puzzled as Zahn strolls directly past her the following day and is with her dad. As he stirs, she inquires as to why they were gone after by evil spirits. He uncovers to her that a long time back there was an overwhelming disease that struck the town. The greater part the townspeople were contaminated and they couldn't find a fix. Yet one day the Kirin showed up and one of its scales fell into the well. In the wake of drinking the water, the residents were totally recuperated, and after that they caught the Kirin and made the mixture from its scales. In the evil presence world, the bird conveys the pill and the insight about the peacock's demise to the head of the evil presences, the monster of craziness. He pronounces that now is the ideal time to reclaim the world from the people. He utilizes the power from the pill and breaks the seal that keeps devils locked away. He orders the evil spirits to find and recover the child Kirin. Really, at that time will they have the ability to overcome the 5 essential pivots. Zahn, alongside the other basic hub individuals, see that the seal to the evil presence world has broken. They can watch on as they understand the fear that has recently been released. The end. Thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe to Any Pluto.